All right, folks, we'll be starting here in just a few minutes. Squeeze in towards the middle. Let's get some more open seats. Couple of seats up front if you want to come up front. Couple of seats on this far wall if you want to come to that side.
We got a few seats up here if anyone wants them.
You got to earn those seats. All right, I think we're ready to get started here. The official time is 3:30 enough, so we'll go ahead and get started. Hello and welcome to the ACCT conference. It's very exciting. It's the 33rd annual. It's not 30 round number, not 35 round number, 33, back of a Rolling Rock bottle. I don't know why that is. End of Prohibition, maybe. Anyways, it's very exciting. Glad we're all here. I do want to acknowledge, though, that we're here in Portland on the land of some indigenous people that were here first. And the names of those tribes are the Clackamas, the Multnomah, the Kawit, and the Cascade. So that's kind of exciting that we're on their land, that they were here first, and we have the honor to come and gather together as a community. So it's a pretty exciting time to be here. We do want to invite folks to also just, if you're not following, oops, it didn't catch up. There we go. If you're not following us on social media, go ahead and scan those QR codes, or you can also just go to linktree.com/actinfo, and we'll have all the links that we're talking about here today. One of the other cool things that the conference does is the conference work group, who does a lot of the work throughout the year. Thank you. Likes to make a donation to the towns that we come to, the cities that we go to, and leave behind something good. And so what they're doing right now is doing a fundraiser for the Oregon Food Bank. So also go to that link, linktree.com/actinfo, or scan the QR code and throw in $10. $10 buys 30 meals for folks that really need it. And you figure $10 is not that much, probably the price of a beer in the hall later on. So buy one beer, earn 30 meals. So that would be super helpful. We sure would appreciate that. And I know they would too. I do want to also just thank our silver sponsors. Sponsorship makes this conference work well financially. And so we really do appreciate that financial support. See, I left the link up there. You can go and get the food bank money. Right. But I do want to thank them by name. Aerial Adventure Tech is a silver sponsor. Oh, yeah. Okay, good. American Adventure Park Systems is a silver sponsor. Also want to thank Blend Marketing. Silver sponsor, Challenge Towers. Experiential Systems. Hibbs Hallmark Insurance. And Viewpoint. And I know we appreciate the applause. They are. A lot of those folks are in the vendor hall. So when you go in that vendor hall, be sure to thank them and just say, hey, thanks for being a silver sponsor. It makes a big difference. And we do appreciate that. There's also some other sponsors. I want to thank them as well. Ropes Park Equipment, Granite Insurance is doing a multiple sponsorship. Synagogue is sponsoring an after party on Saturday night after the award ceremony. ERI is bringing some pint glasses. So that's always nice. And then Challenge Towers is also the lanyard sponsor and an industry business session track sponsor. So thanks to all those folks as well. But one more thing we're going to do at this meeting is give away the raffle. If you are staying in the hotel across the street at the Hyatt, the conference hotel, we had a raffle, put everybody's name in a bucket, so to speak. We're going to pick one out. The winner of that raffle wins back their room nights. So we'll pay for those. Their conference registration, we'll refund you that, and a $25 gift card to, I don't know, get a coffee at the Starbucks or whatever. So see how far that goes. But either way, without further ado, let's go ahead and start this AGM. Please welcome the board chair, Carson Rivers.
Thank you, Matt. Matt's our ever gracious MC. We appreciate his help every year. Want to kind of get started. We have this provision in our bylaws that creates a quorum for this meeting based on attendance of professional vendor members. It kind of ties back to our history. So I'm going to be roll calling the professional vendor members. And if you're present, I would ask that you raise your hand and say the word present, like make us aware that you're here. Corey and Rohan are going to be kind of counting those to make sure that we can confirm a quorum and continue this meeting. And those of you who are might be joining us at home virtually, want to make sure that you let John Vogelin know, who's managing the virtual room. Let him know in the chat that you're present here as well. We'll make sure and count you as present for the meeting. Okay, Abby, Adventure Designs and Training, Adventure Experiences, the Adventure Guild, Adventure Inc., the Adventure Network, Adventure Works Associates, Adventure Systems, Alpine Towers International, American Adventure Park Systems, Bonsai Designs, Challenge Design Innovations. Almost skipped one. All right. Challenge Towers here. Challenges Unlimited. Challenge Works. Edgy Designs. Adventure Builders. Experiential Resources. Experiential Systems. Exponent Challenge Technology Asia. High Five Adventure Learning. Leahy and Associates. Leadership on the Move. Outdoor Specialist. Pivotal Learning. Project Adventure. Project Adventure Japan. RopeWorks. Signature Research. Synergo. Vestal's Gap Ventures. Visionary Adventure. Wingspeed Adventures. And Zipline Korea. Corey, do we have a quorum?
We do.
Thank you, Corey. Yeah, exactly. Y'all don't know, there's like 68 slides in this thing, so I want to make sure we can make this happen. Well, we want to call this meeting to order officially here at 3:37 Pacific time. Appreciate everyone taking the time to come join us this afternoon. Hopefully it'll be informative and let you know everything that's been happening since this time last year, which is quite a bit. We are expecting this to last to approximately 5 p.m. Chance it could go slightly over than that, but roughly 90 minutes. As we're going through the agenda today, if you want to pull out your phone, this is a way you should work. We tested it from everywhere in the room. You can pull up the agenda for today's meeting, the minutes from last year's meeting, financial documents, information, as well as a volunteer org chart. For those of you who aren't as familiar about how these different committees connect to other committees, it could be a really helpful visual for you. If you just kind of hate the QR code thing, you can go to linktree.com/actinfo. You can pull it up there as well. If you really just hate this whole technology thing in general, then we can follow up with John Vogelin after the meeting. You can get your copy some other way. Trying to make it as easy as we can for folks to pull this up. So I'm gonna let that linger just one more second. Please take the time to grab that while the getting's good. Okay, I'm gonna ask Billy Simpson to come up and read our mission statement and antitrust statements.
Thanks, Carson. The ACCT mission statement. The Association for Challenge Course Technology, ACCT, establishes and promotes the standard of care and measure of excellence that defines professional practice and effective challenge course programs. ACCT develops, refines, and publishes standards for installing, maintaining, and managing challenge courses, provides forums for education and professional development, and advocates for the challenge course and adventure industry. The antitrust statement is a little smaller up here, so I'm going to dive in. It is the policy of the Association of Challenge Course Technology, and it's the responsibility of every association member company to comply in all respects with federal and state antitrust laws. No activity or discussion at any association meeting or other function may be engaged in for the purposes of bringing about any understanding or agreement amongst members to raise, lower, or stabilize prices, regulate production, allocate markets, encourage boycotts, foster unfair trade practices, assist monopolization, or in any way violate federal or state antitrust laws. Any questions regarding the meaning or applicability of this policy, as well as any concerns regarding activities or discussions at association meetings, should be promptly brought to the attention of the association executive director or the chair of the board of directors.
Thank you, Billy. All right, down at the end of the table, this is your big moment. I'd like to take a motion to review and approve the agenda.
So moved. Second.
Thank you, Connor. Thank you, Jason. Okay, on your handouts that you got from the QR code, you can see a more detailed agenda if you'd like to follow along. But we're going to go through approving the minutes from last AGM. It's an annual obligation. We're going to get a report from myself, the chair of the board of directors. We're going to get a report from Bill Zimmerman, our new executive director. We're going to have a report from the treasurer on the state of finances of the association. We're going to have reports from chairs of all the primary committees that are board reporting. We're going to have an update on the ACCT board elections. We'll cover any new business and close the meeting. And that should, again, believe it or not, take about 90 minutes. All right. So we do have take this to a vote for the agenda. Any opposed? Any abstaining? All right, motion carries. We have an approved agenda. I'd also like to take a motion to approve the minutes from the annual general meeting held on February 10th, 2022, in conjunction with the 2022 conference in Cleveland, Ohio.
So moved. Second.
Thank you, Connor. Thank you, Jason. Again, you can refer to the minutes. If you see in the minutes that, for example, you believe that you were present but were noted as not present, if you're a PVM, let us know that. We can make corrections. With that, we'll take this one to a vote as well. Any opposed? Any abstaining? All right, motion carries. We have approved minutes from 2022. I'm going to take just a brief moment to provide a few updates from the board of directors. I want to introduce the folks that are up here this afternoon with me. Again, I'm Carson Rivers. I'm chair of the board of directors, at least for another 36 to 48 hours, something like that. Bill Zimmerman is our new executive director and non-voting member of the board. Corey Hampton is secretary. Rohan Shahani is our vice chair. Eric Martyr is our treasurer. And then our members at large, Billy Simpson, Jason Ong, Connor James, Bauman Azarm, and Keith Jacobs. These folks have worked extremely hard over the last year with me and put up with a lot of long meetings, and really appreciate all that they do for the association and they've done to support me. In terms of the short-term future, I alluded to a second ago, I'm completing my term, which has been 6 years, which I've been very grateful to be able to do and to serve this community in that capacity. But our bylaws say it's time for me to go. As much as I want to stick around and keep doing all those meetings, it says I have to. So I'm going to take a break. It's been a pleasure, sincerely. Bauman Azarm has also completed 6 years. He's been there with me. We got elected at the exact same time 6 years ago. So I have not known board life without Bauman. So I think he and I are going to make some retirement plans together or something fun so we can keep spending time together. I mentioned this in the PVM symposium, accredited operators symposium the other day. I did the math and figured if I'm 41 and I was on the board for 6 years, that's 15% of my life. So it has been a big part of me, a big part of my professional life. And again, something I'm very proud of. Hopefully it's in a better spot than where I got it. That's all I can kind of hope for. Appreciate all y'all's support with that as well. Keith Jacobs has completed his 3rd year on the board this time around. He was on the board previously and I think did 6 years back then. So this is now his 9th year he's completing on the board. We really appreciate that long service. And we're going to have 3 new members being elected. That election is open right now. There's going to be more information later in this meeting about how to vote if you don't already know or haven't already taken care of that. And then the new board, once we get those that are going to be elected on in the next couple of days, they will gather with the remaining 6 folks on the board here to be seated next Wednesday at 7:30 Mountain Time. We tend to operate on Mountain Time with the association because that's where the association office is, unless we're in person at a different time zone, which we are today. They will meet at 7:30 next Wednesday morning, Mountain Time, and they will elect officers at that time. We'll assign new liaisons and kind of set the meeting schedule for the year and take care of some other initial business. And then for those of you who don't know, our fiscal year is set from a July 1st to June 30 schedule. And so they'll be heading into budget development process and approving a new budget to start July 1, 2023. Just a key few updates, what we've been doing this year. The board has continued to meet twice a month since we met with you here last year in this capacity. And the board provides oversight to the executive director and all the association committees. And so we do quite a bit of work in the realm of governance and trying to ensure that the association is running well and is functioning. Just a few major initiatives. We've obviously done quite a bit, but the kind of some really high points would be hiring and onboarding a new executive director. You'll notice it's a different face than this time last year, and we'll get a chance to have Bill introduce himself in a minute. We went through a strategic planning process as a board last fall. We have been focused on, as a result of that, kind of step one, job one of that planning process was to work on governance review and work on updating our bylaws that have not been updated significantly in a long, long time. We're not quite done with that one, but we're really getting really close on that. And then over the last few years, a big theme has been maintaining financial stability. As you'd imagine, with the pandemic and the last couple of years, virtual conference year, a smaller conference last year, being able to maintain that stability has been really important. Eric's going to speak to us a little bit more about that. But I just think hopefully you all have noticed we've continued to have services. We've continued to have the events. We've continued to do everything the association was doing before because we were able to do good proper planning ahead of that. That's why we built the reserves years ago, and they've been able to allow us to move right through. So excited about that. And next up, pleasure to introduce you all to Bill Zimmerman. Some of you had a chance to meet him over the last few days, but proud to introduce him to the community here now. I'll hand it over.
Thank you, Carson. My name is Bill Zimmerman. I'm new here. Some of you were acquainted. I spent a bit of time back in New England working for some organizations in the field, Project Venture and the Brown Center at UNH. So it's good to see some old familiar faces, and it's been good to catch up over the last couple of days. And I appreciate the advice and the support and the feedback. So remember, it's all in the delivery. So anyway, I just want to take a few moments to recognize the staff. I have a fantastic team and could not do the job without their support. Melissa Webb is an amazing events director. This is possible because of the work that she does with her team. So, Melissa. And I look forward to our weekly Zoom chats because we do spend some time to laugh. Heather Brooks is probably one of the hardest working employees I've ever met. She puts her head down and knows how to work hard. So I do appreciate that. And she is certainly underpaid. Heather. And John, it feels like John's a kind of a climbing partner because we've been roped together on a few things this past year. We've done an ANSI audit, and we've done a big tech project. You might have noticed that there's a new website, and John has done most of the heavy lifting. I've tried not to get in his way too much. I've tried to do my part of the to-do list, but when I have face planted, John's picked up the pieces and carried forward. So John is in the back there, and John doesn't say a lot, but John does a lot. So please make sure you thank him for his work. We have some excellent part-time staff members that do work in our programs as administrative reviewers. Micah Henderson. Is Micah here? Micah's in the back. Charles Peterson. And John Turman. So that team of Heather, Micah, Charles, and John really keep that PVM program rolling. So thank you. I'm kind of astounded at the number of volunteers ACCT has and the number of projects that are running all the time. It kind of blows me away. Thanks to the board of directors, the board emeritus, all of the committees, panels, task forces, work groups. I promise I'll spend more time figuring out what you're all doing. I'd also like to give a special thanks to the conference presenters. I know how important, critically important conference content is to an association. You know, when you host an event like this, it's about content. That's what keeps people coming back every year. That's what drives professional development. So thank you. If you're a presenter here, thank you so much. It's really important. And we can't hold events like this and keep them affordable without conference sponsors. So once again, thanks to the silver sponsors, Aerial Adventure Tech, American Adventure Park Systems, Blend Travel Marketing, Challenge Towers, Experiential Systems, Hibbs Hallmark and Company, Viewpoint Videos, Ropes Park Equipment, Challenge Towers, Granite Insurance, and Synago. These conferences would be many times as expensive as they are without sponsorship. So visit them in the exhibit hall, thank them for their sponsorship. And it's really crucial that we have sponsors supporting events like this. We've been busy. In the office, there are 4 of us. Think about that. 4 people that work full-time and actually get paid to work for ACCT. This is the first post-COVID conference face-to-face. We're not back to where we were in terms of attendance and participation before the acute phase of the pandemic, but we're getting there. The trends are good. I'd say we're almost there. My plea to you is throw people at this conference next year. We really do need that. We completed an ANSI audit this summer. That is more difficult than it sounds because there were a few secretaries since the last audit. So we had to go find a bunch of stuff that we didn't know where it was. But we successfully completed the audit. We got the audit results a few weeks ago and requested an extension to respond because it was due while we were here. That wasn't going to happen. And our response is on track for March 3rd, 2023. We developed some new policies with the board, record retention policy, and an investment and reserves policy. You don't want me managing your money. You want a fiduciary and a professional doing that. You certainly don't want them managing your money. Investments. We selected and implemented a new association management software package, and part of that implementation resulted in a new website. So we encourage you, that's been soft launched. You're going to be hearing much more about that in the coming weeks. So you'll notice a new website, and we'll be pushing out more and more information about that as we get organized and have more to say. But that's been a successful migration, and that's basically taken us 4 or 5 months. Data week became data 2.5 months. So there were some delays, but we're happy to report that was successful. I've been working with the board on a governance review. So basically, as a newcomer, I get to ask a lot of kind of pointed, naive questions about, why do you do it this way? And have you thought about this or that or the other? So that's been fun. And I'm going to keep doing it for a while until they tell me to stop. The adoption of ACCT operation accreditation by Singapore Ministry of Education, and Heather had a lot to do with that. So if you want to know more about that, don't ask me, ask Heather. And the approval of many new accredited operators. Some of those new accredited operators as of last AGM: French Broad Adventures, High Gravity Adventures, and Quarry Park Adventures. Branson Zipline, Changi Coast OALC, Dairy Farm OALC, Highlands Aerial Park, Jalan Bahtera, Labrador OALC, Outward Bound Singapore, Camp 1 and 2, Outward Bound Singapore, East Coast Campus, the Adventure Park at Sandy Springs, U.S. National Whitewater Center. Congratulations on your achievement. And we have a brief events report that's been pre-recorded.
Thank you, Bill.
Greetings. I'm Melissa Webb, the Events Director for ACCT. I am honored to serve this community and excited to share space with all of you throughout the week. The challenge course industry has grown significantly in recent years, and it's really exciting time to be a part of it all. We have an incredible lineup of speakers and sessions planned for the next few days, and I am confident that you will all come away with valuable insights and new ideas to take back to your own operations at home. We're excited to hear from our presenters and to engage in very meaningful discussions with our attendees from all over the world. I am happy to share that we have representatives from so many awesome locations. So glad to have you all here with us from Australia, Belize, Canada, Costa Rica, France, Hong Kong, India, Japan, Malaysia, Mexico, New Zealand, Puerto Rico, Republic of Korea, Singapore, United Kingdom, as well as the United States here joining us this week. It's really great to see our community growing globally. Since we were last together, there have been some exciting things happening for me in the events world, with the largest one being securing a home for our annual event for the coming years. Site selection for our conference is a really important part of my role here at ACCT. The location of our conference can have a significant impact on attendance, the budget, and the overall success of the event and the association. We have delayed our search efforts over the last few years so that we, myself and my partner at HPN with site selection, Kristen Vines, could dialogue with the board of directors about their vision for the future of the association regarding events. Conversations commenced in Cleveland, and shortly after, we opened up our search for future years. We discussed preferred date range, venue preferences, the overall goals and objectives of the events themselves, the conference schedule, the dates that are needed for the schedule and what would be happening specifically each date. We had talked about attendee and membership demographics, like where the majority of our membership comes from, as well as the advantages and drawbacks to potentially hosting a multi-year contract with a specific location. When selecting a site for our international conference, there are several things that have to be looked at. So approximately 3 to 5 years out, we identify multiple cities. This year, when we were searching, I think we started out with like 35 cities when we started our initial search that we wanted to look at into a little bit further for future events. And then we distribute a request for proposal to numerous venues for consideration. We narrowed our search down based upon the overall proposed package, which includes many things, including the availability for our preferred date range across all of the venues, the host hotel, as well as the convention center. We looked at what the group rate was that was offered to us, keeping in mind that we have a very diverse population that we serve. We looked into what our food and beverage minimum would be that's requested of the association. We looked into meeting room rental fees, the convenience of airlift, and the accessibility for folks to travel, both domestically and internationally, to our conference. We look at the walkability of the city. We go around and we check things out. We don't just let them take us around. We walk around on foot to kind of get a feel for what it would be like for you. We look at attractions that are nearby. We look at the venue fees, as well as the ease of use of facilities and the overall quality of the venues themselves. We consider the destinations that we've been to previously. We look at where we've gone from year to year, whether we've been east, mid, or west, as we try to kind of bounce around to ensure that we're in locations that our membership can get to easily. We then begin site inspections of the cities that we're most interested in, taking into consideration, of course, the package that is proposed. It typically takes about 60 to 90 days to identify the city that has the best value and availability and makes the most sense for our group. Approximately 2 to 3 years out, we like to have a venue secured, including all the contracts signed for both the host hotel and the convention centers. So, after a long process, I am very pleased to report that we are going to be hosting our 2024 conference in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. That city has done some master planning with how they've set up and laid out their city and have been very intentional with how they've grown. The convention center is brand new, and the Omni, that will be our host hotel, opened in January of last year. So we're right across the street from Scissortail Park and really close to a local climbing venue. There's a lot of accessibility with walking distance, and it's a really cool location. I think you'll be pretty excited about it once you get there. So Oklahoma City for 2024, and then we'll be back in Cleveland, Ohio in 2025. We're headed back to Oklahoma City in 2026. And I don't yet have a location to share with you for 2027, as we've not yet begun our search, although it's most likely that we'll be heading back west for our 2027 conference. So pretty exciting stuff. We went from nothing to securing our location for the next couple of years. And I'm really excited to work with the different venues that we have contracted. We obviously had a great experience working with the venues in Cleveland and excited to head back there. Oklahoma City has just so much to offer us, and I'm really excited for that ahead. So in addition to site selection, we conducted an audit of all of the registration fees and sponsorship packages this year. We reviewed what our pricing structure looked like and we compared that to other events similar to ACCT, as well as what our actual expenses will be for the various venues that we have contracted with. We identified that there were certainly some barriers to entry for our student participants, and we're actively brainstorming ideas to make this event more accessible to that community, as we recognize that they are the future of this industry. We recognize fully that our community will see a lasting impact from the pandemic and our current state of economy. We're currently brainstorming ways to stay engaged with all of you in different ways, as well as considering expanding our event offerings to better connect and serve all of you. In stating this, please recognize that the best way for us to grow is to hear from you. Please, please, please make sure to take the time to complete the surveys and evaluations that are a part of this event and that are shared with you by your association. It is truly the best way for us to continue to grow together. All right, now while I recognize that this is a reunion for many of us, please remember that this is the first time that several of these folks have been to an ACCT conference. Please give them a warm ACCT welcome. It is my hope that each of you walks away from this event with your cup running over, new initiatives to share with your teams, some new friendships forged, and a real true sense of community. Now, let's go get this show on the road and learn some things.
So what you're saying is like, it's a lot of hard work. Absolutely. Melissa is phenomenal. I've had the opportunity to work with all of our staff with, just seeing Melissa run this event, seeing her pivot when we had the virtual event to plan all that. It's truly a phenomenal resource for us. With that said, Eric, you want to follow that act? Good luck, buddy.
Give me a choice. Welcome to Portland. This is my hometown, has been for a long time, ever since I can remember, a little kid. This is our third time in Portland. It's kind of fun. We ordered up some special weather for you today. It does not usually look like this. It rains every day of the year except today. So enjoy your stay. Treasurer. So I'm the treasurer, and it would, I need to take a moment and mention something to you all. The Treasury moves through time, and our state of our finances are very much the responsibility of me and a few other people. But I want to acknowledge two people, especially on these finances. One is Carson, who has really rolled his sleeves up in the last, especially 4 or 5 years, and really taken a good look at these finances. And the other one is Cameron Annis, who's in here, I believe. Yeah. Yep, right back there, who was my predecessor as a treasurer. And those two guys really did a lot of hard work and rebuilt a bank account that had a little dip in it a while ago. We are now on, as you heard, on the back end of a little fun thing called COVID that we are also rebuilding from again. So last year we had our conference. It was considerably smaller than this one. It was wonderful. It was great, but not huge and robust as this one is. What I would like to do is go through a couple things. One is where we ended up last year financially, where we're at this year. Everybody repeat after me. Q2. Good. Ended in December. So we are, what a weird time. I mean, like, it wasn't until I started Rapid, but I've been on this board. I was on this board a long time ago. And I've been around this organization for a very long time. And I just started putting together the complexities of what we do, right? We both have our annual, our fiscal year is June, end of June, beginning of July is when we start up again. So we write a budget then, right? And then we go pretty much normal. We know what our expenses are. We're pretty much flat in all of our overhead. And then this massive thing happens called the conference, right? Where all this action happens. We spend a lot of money, we make a lot of money. All this stirring of a storm happens. And then right after that, we go back and we're flat again. So if you can put your head together and a little bit of thought, you'll realize that a whole bunch of our budget is based on this experience you guys are all in right now. In fact, 70, he says 70%. I think it's more about 90% out there. It's a major number. So we're gonna look at last year's numbers where we ended up. We're gonna look at about where we're at this year at the end of Q2, and then move on. Also, I'm going to tell you guys now, I'm around for the next couple of days and then the rest of my life because I live here. And if you do have any questions about the finances and whatnot, please always feel free to ask me. I can share what I can share and kind of tell you my thoughts on it and where we're at. We do some weird stuff in our industry, but in our finances around here with it. All right. Last year, fiscal year 2022, July 1st, which ended in July 30th of 2022, we budgeted a net income of negative $5,000. Our final net income was a little bit worse, and this was due to our conference last year. We expected a lot. This is a big number. But look, let's bump down to the bottom real quick. Our total assets were $633,000 at the end of the year. Again, I'm going to bring this back to Cameron and Carson. They did a great job along with our staff and some other people really helping out to really get that going. Some of those other people are finance committee. We have an amazing finance committee that really support the finances of this organization. This is not a me thing. And Bill and I work closely on the finances and where we're at. We have a finance committee that follows us up and looks at everything. We have a wonderful bookkeeper and a CPA that also reviews all this stuff. So I'm going to bump back up a little bit. Start back down at the bottom. Our total assets at the end of the year was $633,000. Our variance from budget last year was at negative $54,000. and ended up with, again, our assets at $633,000. Wasn't a stellar year, but we're okay. And we're okay because of the cushion that was built for us a few years back. Thank you. All right, quarter two. Remember I said we're talking about quarter two. This year we had a strange quarter two. We're usually pretty good at predicting some stuff. Our conference represents about 67% of our budget income of the year. This year we drafted two budgets because doing one wasn't fun enough. One of those budgets had a scenario based on 900 attendees at the conference. And the other budget was 1,000 attendees at the conference. 100 people. Might not sound like it makes a difference. It makes an enormous difference out there. The final budget that we approved was for 900 attendee scenarios. Our current actual numbers last reported was 750. I have also heard some rumors that we're a little bit up over 800 now. Kind of, yeah, okay. And hopefully we'll get some more on that. I kind of feel like we're going to because of a blip that we saw this year that was very strange. And that is, it might be a new normal, I'm not too sure. We usually get a whole bunch of registrations at the end of quarter two, which is the end of December, mid-December into December. After that, our prices go up a bit. People usually don't like to pay more money. So as you do, they wait and do it right at the end of quarter two. This year, we didn't see that. What we saw, though, was a huge rush in January, which is a little strange. And we don't have those numbers reconciled yet, so they're not in our budget right now. So here's where we're at for this year. Let's start at the bottom. Looks pretty good down there. Total assets, $786,000. I really appreciate that, plus some change. And that is, again, us growing an organization and being really smart out there with it. Our budgeted net income for this year was $317,951. Our for quarter one and two. That's for the whole for the quarter one and two. And then our actual net income was $151,877. That's a budget variance of negative 166. This got us scratching our heads a little bit. And that's when we realized that a whole bunch of people registered in January and not in December. So a big piece of that number was due to that. Another big piece of it is if you watched Melissa, she just pointed out, we've got the next 3 years of conferences laid out. We don't lay those out and she can't mention those things until they're official. They don't become official until we write them a pretty big check. So we usually don't write checks that far out on conferences, but what we're going to start doing in the future is keeping ourselves well ahead of the game. And that is putting us a little bit behind quarter one and two this year. With that, our operating account is $393,000. And coincidentally, our current reserve accounts are also $393,000 for a total of $786,000 in our current assets. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. Also just want a special thanks for Eric and his wife, Jennifer, and the Synagogue team for a lot of work that they've done to support this conference in their hometown. They're proud of it being here where they live, and they're proud to share it and excited to share it. Obviously, you heard Matt and Bill both mention their sponsoring of the awards after party, but that's just the tip of the iceberg of everything they've done to support this conference. So let's give them a round. I really appreciate that. All right, this next section is kind of bear with us. It's great information. I know this context sometimes it's like a little dry, but it's really good info. We're going to cruise through all of the board reporting committees and hear what they've been up to over the last year, maybe a little bit of what they're going to be up to in the coming year. In the handout that you got on that QR code, again, there's that org chart. It'll be the last thing after you scroll through all the finances and numbers and boring spreadsheets. You get to the bottom, there's a chart. It's colorful, it's pretty, it'll make you smile. And it'll help you figure out what we're talking about, who these folks are. Some of you have been around for 30 years. Some of you, this is your first conference. That chart will really help make this all make sense. All right. Again, would love to thank all the volunteers for everything that they do. It will be very apparent after listening to this just how enormous that lift is from our volunteer team. Very grateful. Okay, we're going to start with the Accreditation and Certification Committee, as well as the Programs Department of ACCT that work very closely together. Report's going to be brought to you from Heather Brooks, who is the Programs Manager, as we mentioned, Kennerly DeForest, who's the outgoing chair of ACC, and B. Lacey, the incoming chair of ACC. So they kind of tag team this one.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 33rd Annual International Conference and Expo. My name is Heather Brooks. I am the Program Manager for ACCT, and I am hold on. Okay, much better. As I was saying, I'm excited to be able to tell you all the amazing things that have been going on in programs. Now, for your program updates, I will be providing you some of these updates while Kennerly DeForest and B. Lacey share their updates from the Accreditation and Certification Committee. But to start with Operation Accreditation, we approved 12 applications over the course of this last year. We are reviewing 3 applications currently, and we have a total of 13 accredited operations worldwide. For vendor accreditation, or PVMs, we have 34 PVMs and have received interest from 9 other companies, 2 here within the US and 7 from other countries. We are currently waiting for the finalization and approval of the new program, so that way we can shift into that, but I will let B tell you about all of their progress. Now, with the inspector certification program, a hard copy of the standards is now included in the ICE prep course, and the workbook associated with that course has been updated. We hosted 4 testing events over the course of this last year. We are hoping to do that this year as well to provide more virtual opportunities as well as in-person opportunities. We have been working and will continue to work on updating the forms and their usability for all of you as the end user having to fill those out. The certification website is getting ready to shift to be attached to the main website, so keep an eye out for that. And we have been very intentional on being more internationally focused over the course of this last year, moving into this year, and making sure as we develop this program to be better, that we make sure that the process is user-friendly. Now, for the future of programs, what you should hopefully be able to see within the next year is ACCT is looking at getting a learning management system that will allow us to offer more educational opportunities in the form of CEUs, potentially prep course, potentially other trainings and forums and get-togethers. We'll see. We are also looking at doing a governance plan or an evaluation of how ACCT governs within itself. With that review, it should make things, especially within programs, more efficient and more effective. Now, from here, I'm going to pass it to Kennerly DeForest, the outgoing chair of the Accreditation and Certification Committee.
Welcome to the Accreditation Certification Committee update for the annual general meeting of ACCT. The Accreditation Certification Committee is responsible for managing the program side of the association, and we could not do this without the illustrious help of Heather Brooks, the program manager, director, coordinator person. Currently, the ACC is seeking 2 new members, and we also meet once a month on the 3rd Thursday of the month currently. This year, on top of the regular order of business, we've been managing the Vendor Accreditation Program Design Task Force, which has released manuals and documents and has gone through public comment, and we've been a large part of that. We continue to work on the program development process. So when new programs are trying to come online, we want to look at that. And we've approved updates to policy on the inspector certification side. And then the trainer curriculum, which we had out, there was public comment and a series of meetings after that. That's been put on hold or pause while ACCT goes through some structural changes. The panels, we have 3 panels that sort of form the basis of our accreditation and certification. The first one is the vendor accreditation panel, and that is chaired by Austin Paulson. They manage the vendor accreditation program, and so we've had all of the reviews for 2022. They're looking forward to 2023, as well as dealing with new applications and annual reports. And so they've been doing a great job of managing the existing program while the task force is looking at modifying that design or updating that program. The accreditation, the Operation Accreditation Panel, OAP, manages that side and they've been very busy, lots of new applications going through the process, managing the annual reports for accredited operations, and also managing the operation reviewer, the training and approval of that process. Then the last one that we have, the last panel, my apologies, the OAP is chaired by Tim Prairie. The Inspector Certification Panel, or ICP, is chaired by Don Nagy, and they've been working very hard on creating a large test banks, updating the blueprints, so the tests are actually going to look quite a bit different, and also looking at the different insurance requirements, especially for our inspectors that are not within the United States. And that's what they've been working on very hard over the and dealing with obviously all the applications. That's it for me, the outgoing chair of the Accreditation Certification Committee. I'm pleased to pass it on to the new incoming chair, B. Lacey. Thank you.
Thanks, Kennerly and Heather. Hi, everyone. My name is B. Lacey, and I am the incoming chair of the Accreditation and Certification Committee. As Heather and Kennerly have already mentioned, we've had some great progress in our task forces over the past year. The Vendor Accreditation Program Design and Vendor Reviewer Training Task Forces have banded together with Alicia Bork as their chair, and they've been working on finalizing documentation for the Accreditation Application and Manual, the Vendor Auditor Report, the Accredited Vendor Annual Report, the Applicant Liaison Description, the pass-fail criteria, and the auditor guide. They have also been working on putting together documentation for training for that program, including a curriculum and a syllabus, as well as other training content. This task force also recently made some recommendations to the ACC in regards to the program and its offerings and future in 2023. Those recommendations were approved by the Accreditation and Certification Committee and passed on to the board for their approval. The Qualified Course Professional Task Force, chaired by Dick Hammond, has been meeting twice monthly and has been diligently working on developing information on what constitutes a qualified individual in our industry, so that the framework for that can then be created. Additionally, there have been discussions in this group surrounding further QCPs being added, including maintenance, manager, and other types of designer. The QCP task force is presenting at the conference in order to incorporate feedback along their path to completion. Until the QCP task force is done with its work, the Universal Portfolio Task Force will be remaining on an approved hiatus. A huge thank you goes out to all of our volunteers in 2022 for their hard work and dedication. We couldn't have done it without you, and we appreciate you. Here's hoping that 2023 is just as good as 2022. Thanks.
Now, before the board cuts me off, I do want to say a quick thank you to all the volunteers that I have the opportunity to work with. My job is not possible without you, and I appreciate you and all the work and dedication that you have brought to the table over the last year, as well as moving into this year. I can't do it without you, so thank you.
That is an absolute powerhouse of names on that list right there. Thank you for what you do. The next person to have to sit awkwardly and listen to themselves talk on a video is going to be John Lazarus from the Consensus Group.
Howdy, folks. My name is John Lazarus, and I am the chairperson of the ACT Consensus Group. Our primary task of the Consensus Group is to process proposed draft standards for the challenge course industry through the association's accredited procedures. Within that, we are responsible for reviewing standards or changes to standards proposed through the published comment portal, making any changes to the proposed standards, voting on approved American national standards within our scope, maintaining the standards developed by the consensus group, complying with policies and procedures for interpretations as defined in Section 10 of the procedures, responding to requests for interpretations of the standards developed by the consensus group, and other matters requiring committee action as provided in these procedures. Consensus group is made up of 3 interest categories. In the vendor category is myself, John, Pete Sawyer, Etienne LeBlanc, Keith Jacobs, Rob Manson. In the user category, we have Paul Chapman, Sean Moriarty, Louis McCurley, Linda Kelly, and Mitch McWilliams. And in the general category, we have Jennifer Murphy, Curtis Britcher, Sean Fisher, Michael Lane, and 1 open vacant position. Our secretary is John Vogelin, and our board liaison is Connor James. Primary task the consensus group has been working on for the last several months has been around assembling the latest drafts submitted by the entire committee members and general public into one document, and then having members offer their feedback prior to submitting our BSR 9 for public comment. The consensus group members were able to engage with the authors of the proposed draft during several meetings in order to do a preliminary review of the document prior to voting to send it out to public comment. Other tasks involve the formation of a task force to review the accredited procedures in order to bring them up to date with current ANSI requirements, add input from the accreditation audit, and looking at expanding and modifying interest categories and quorum criteria. In membership, we had 2 members resign this last year with both positions being filled. An additional resignation happened this month, so we currently have 1 position open in the general category, and applications are being requested and received for consideration for this open position. Current draft standard public comment period ended at 11:59 p.m. on January 9th. Comments have been presented to the chair, and we are working to compile all the comments submitted in preparation to start processing at our face-to-face meeting on January 12th, following the international conference. At the end of the comment period, we had approximately 1,730 comments, the largest volume we've received to date, and there comments were roughly organized into the following categories. Process procedural, 157. Editorial, 203. General, 273. Technical, 1,097. And I want to thank all the persons who participated in this public comment period and look forward to moving this latest draft forward with your input. For additional information on the consensus group and its function, applications for membership, minutes, and other information, please refer to the ACT website at acctinfo.org. That's actinfo.org. Thank you.
I want to reiterate my just appreciation for all of you for participating in that comment period. This is how this works and how we all get to have a say and how we get to be engaged. And if any of y'all have like just some coffee beans lying around or something, maybe box them up and ship them off to the consensus group because they got a lot of work to do. Unenviable for sure, but we're very grateful for it. Next up is going to be a compliance committee and Jennifer Martyr.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Martyr, and I'm chair of the ACCT Compliance Committee. The Compliance Committee is responsible for developing and maintaining the ACCT Code of Ethics. We review the conflict of interest forms that are submitted to the association each year by its volunteers. We facilitate the grievance process for the association, its members, and its volunteers, and we recommend solutions to the affected parties involved in these grievances. This year, the committee worked on revisions to the grievance resolution process and recommended edits to the Code of Ethics to the Board of Directors. Also this year, the committee received several inquiries from individuals who are seeking resolution to various conflicts. The committee educated these individuals on the grievance process. One of these situations, however, could not be resolved and resulted in a grievance being filed. The grievance process has been complete, and there are no new grievances or inquiries in process. The Compliance Committee is accountable to the Board of Directors and the association members, and much of our work is confidential. This coming year, the Compliance Committee will be looking for new members, so if this type of work is of interest to you, please reach out. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. Next up is another Jen, Jen Ottinger with the Finance Committee.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jen Ottinger with High Five Adventure Learning Center, and I serve as the chair of the ACCT Finance Committee. Our committee is charged with assisting the board to help develop financial policies and best practices, monitor financial trends, coordinate reviews and audits, ensure that the policies and procedures and budget protocols are in the best interest of the organization, and foster long-term financial sustainability for the organization. We meet with the executive director, board treasurer, and other board members as needed to discuss financial developments and projections. This past year, we've monitored monthly financial reports, cash flow and bank accounts, reviewed the annual budget prior to its adoption, and worked with the board to evolve and adapt formal financial policies and procedures. Our accounting systems continue to improve under the leadership of our new executive director, and we continue to evolve best practices with the help of outside financial experts. We will continue to assist the board in adapting and making the best financial decisions to ensure the long-term sustainability of ACCT. I want to thank Finance Committee members Shane Griswold of GoApe, Beth Norris of Project Adventure, and Cameron Annis of Granite Insurance for their contributions this past year and for their ongoing willingness to serve on this committee. Thanks so much.
So finance is a hard group to come up with. This is an incredible group and has done a lot of amazing work, but they're also tired. They've been doing it for a while. If there's anybody that loves spreadsheets and that type of thing, we'd love to have you. We need the help. Next up, speaking of hard ones to dig up, insurance and risk management. We're here from Randy Smith.
Hi, I'm Randy Smith, Chair of the Insurance and Risk Management Committee. Members of the committee include myself, Bob Ryan, Becky Staley, Robert Monahan, Cameron Annis, and Keith Jacobs as board liaison. 2022 has been a quiet year for the committee. However, we did work on the following initiatives. In 2019, we began a program to analyze insurance loss data for the industry. Access to this data has been provided by our ongoing relationship with Hibbs Hallmark and Granite Insurance. The analysis has been done by Appalachia State University. This year, we have updated that data, and it will be presented at the conference in the Incident Trends and Benchmarking Workshop on Friday morning. We also worked with the ACC to finalize insurance requirements and recommendations for individuals and companies who participate in the various ACT credentialing programs, both in North America and internationally. This collaboration has resulted in a simpler, more streamlined approach for users while maintaining the needed protections for ACT. Special thanks to Becky Staley, who lent her legal expertise to this effort. The committee also continues to monitor trends in insurance and risk management for the industry, and much of that data is being made available in various workshops during the conference. If you have questions or needs related to insurance or risk management, please do not hesitate to contact me. Thanks.
And if the data analysis was done by App State, you know it's going to be really good. I happen to have 2 degrees from the institution myself. Next up, we have Colin Keynes. And Colin loves to remind me and all of us, and I appreciate him for doing so, that he is not an international member of our association. He is a member of an international association, and he's such a champion. Such a champion for everybody globally and bringing access to ACCT around the world. And it was so great to hear Melissa rattle off that list of all the places around the globe that we have people visiting us from. So looking forward to hearing from Colin here.
I'm Colin Keynes, the chair of the Association International Committee. Now, the purpose that this committee was formed was to advise the board of directors to support the office staff and to serve as a resource in matters regarding issues, events, safety, and education that occurs outside the United States. The committee is now in its 4th year of existence. We are continuing our international dialogue sessions every 2 months. And last year, we conducted 4 dialogue sessions on the last Friday of the month, and the attendance at these meetings have been very encouraging. We have recordings of these dialogue sessions that can be made available to members who request for them. Now, the topics that were covered last year, including the training standards, the zip line standards, the required paperwork for being a certified inspector, and the workings of the Accreditation and Certification Committee, ACC. It was all very educational to everybody concerned. Now, we intend to continue with these sessions next year as a means to keep in touch with members who are not working in the US and to keep abreast of things that are happening in the industry worldwide. We also intend that these dialogue sessions be a place where members can inform us of problems faced by them, and we can refer such problems to the board of directors who will try to address these problems. Now, for the coming year, we're compiling a list of problems faced by members in complying with the requirements of certification, mainly due to insurance issues, and also the difficulties and costs of bringing existing bills into compliance with the standards, and thinking of a scheme whereby there can be a tiered compliance to standards for courses which are trying to adopt the ACD standards. Now, at the International Forum this year, we will be giving out a questionnaire to members where they can fill in the problems that they face, and the committee will be compiling this list and referring it to the board of directors. We are also still looking at ACCT having a presence in regional roadshows or trade fairs, which will involve members residing in the countries where these shows or fairs will take place, thereby enhancing the presence of the association on an international basis. Now, we are looking at connecting with all our members who do not reside in the United States to assist us in this venture. We are also looking for members from different jurisdictions to join us in carrying out the plans. Please reach out to me through the association. We do need volunteers. Thank you, and looking forward to meeting up with you guys at the National Forum. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Colin. Next, we've got Rachel Haley with Leadership and Nominations.
Hi there. My name is Rachel Haley, and I'm the chair of the Leadership and Nominations Committee. Our committee is comprised of myself, Deirdre Goodwin, and Gary Big Dom Zvidak. Apart from our main goal of supporting ACCT Board of Directors election process, we also support the association by helping to recruit volunteers for the association. Apart from supporting the board election, the committee has been inactive this year, but we hope to continue some key projects we've identified in 2023. Specifically, the development of a mentorship program for association volunteers, creation and improvement of training materials for new association volunteers, and the upcoming changes to the ACCT bylaws will change the structure and purpose of this committee to focus specifically on board recruitment. So these projects will have to move to another association committee in the next year. If you're interested in helping out, or if you want to learn more, fill out a volunteer application on the ACCT website or come talk to one of us. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Rachel. Last but certainly not least, we're going to hear from Michelle Hepler and John Winter, going to provide us an update on the activities of the Technical Information Research and Education, otherwise known as TIRE.
Greetings, everyone. My name is Michelle Hepler. I'm the current chair of the Technical Information Research and Education Committee.
And I'm John Winter, vice chair.
Additional members of our committee include Kathy Harris, Rich Kleincheck, Sarah Osterhaus, Josh Todd, Randy Smith, Melanie Wills, and we have 2 liaisons, a staff liaison, Heather Brooks, and a board liaison, Bama Nazar. John and I are going to quickly recap some of the projects that we've done in 2022.
The Tire Committee submitted numerous draft standards proposals in 2020 and 2021. In 2022, the consensus group submitted the Project Initiation Notification System, or PINS, and submitted the draft standards for public comment. Members of Tire and affiliated task forces attended consensus group meetings to provide clarification and answer questions.
Another project that the committee took on shortly after last year's conference included the drafting and publication of the Technical Information Research and Education Advisory for zipline braking systems. Published in June of 2022, and then subsequently, this led to 2 different interviews opportunities with Adventure Park Insider, both of which had representation from the Tire Committee. The member education panel, also an affiliate group of Tire, has been quite active, tackling projects such as short educational videos to help educate how standards become standards, and infographics outlining the ANSI process. This group has also been working closely with ACT staff as well as other work groups to improve educational materials on the ACT website and for this year's conference.
During the ACCT conference in Portland, the Tire Committee will present a 90-minute education session on Friday that will highlight some of the work we have done and the projects coming up for 2023. In addition, Tire Committee members will lead several other workshops and conference sessions.
In closing, we do have one member who is rolling off into retirement. Sarah Osterhaus, our secretary, and longtime member, will be stepping down. We want to thank Sarah for her years of service, her countless hours of work, and just wish her well as she goes on to the next chapter. We have one vacancy then. We're looking for applicants who are willing to serve in that role. If you have questions, please find John or I this week somewhere around the conference. Thank you.
You have the chance to attend any of the presentations that they mentioned, it'll be well worth your time. There's going to be some really great information. Thank you for sharing it with us. That is the end of the committee reports. Maybe one more big round of applause for all the work that the volunteers are doing. And next up, I'm going to invite Rohan Shahani, our vice chair, to come up and give an update on board elections. Oops, let's not start that video again. There we go. All right.
Thanks, Carson. Again, my name is Rohan Shahani, and I'm the vice chair of the association. And per our bylaws, the vice chair helps oversee and supervise election policy. Something you may recall from last year's AGM is in the 2021-2022 calendar year, we really made an effort to align those policies and then also really put the election for impartiality's sake in the hands of the staff. So I don't actually oversee the direct execution of the election. That's something that you may have already seen is in progress, and the staff, and that's under the supervision of Bill, John Vogelin, really help run and make happen. This year we have in our general membership election, so these are candidates to be voted on by our general membership, one open seat, and there's 2 candidates, and that's Leslie Soul with the state of Colorado and Olivia Stretch Rowland from Challenge Quest. Thanks very much to both of these candidates for their willingness to serve. And if you wouldn't mind, if you're in the room, just waving or standing up so people can come find you if you like. We have 2 seats opening for that are voted on by professional vendor members. So PVMs, you elect 2 people, and we have 2 candidates running in that election. We have Kennerly DeForest from Experiential Resources and Michael Smith from Adventure Smith. If y'all would just indicate your presence as well. Again, thanks so much for your willingness to serve the association. A couple things to know, which is on the website as well. If you go to the information, the news section, the 3rd article down is about the elections, and it says a little bit of what I'm about to say. But voting is one of your most important membership benefits. So please take advantage of that if you're so inclined. And as I mentioned, this is all being managed through online ballots.
So the voting period is currently open, and so you should have already received a ballot in your email. Organizational member types, you receive one ballot per company, and individual members receive one ballot per person. So one membership, one ballot is how our current structure runs. Again, if you go to our website, in the homepage, you go to News, ACCT Updates, and there's a link to the board election, shares all the policy. And there's also a link to get a hold of John Vogelin on the website. If for some reason you're having trouble voting, you can email John directly and he'll be able to take care of you or help you out. The voting period ends on Friday, and that's February 10th at 3:30 Pacific time. By bylaws, our voting period is linked to the AGM. So you still have time to vote, and you have time to talk to the candidates if you'd like to. So if there's things you're interested in learning about them, I encourage you to seek them out. And we'll be announcing the results of that election on Saturday evening at our awards ceremony. So past the rope wranglers performance at the end of that, there's another reason to come to that awards ceremony. Best of luck to all candidates in the election. And I think one thing that Carson mentioned and Bill mentioned is there's a lot of volunteers here. And so I just wanted to take a moment to also recognize the service crew. They can also help you find John or help you navigate these things as you move forward. You won't see a video from them. So just remember to thank a yellow hat if you see them. Thanks, y'all.
Okay. Any new business? All right. Well, as they say, in a minute, but not yet. Did I do that right, Dick? Okay, good. We're going to be taking a motion to adjourn the meeting in just a moment. And after we adjourn, please don't just jump out of your seat and bolt out the door. Matt's going to come back up. He has some important announcements related to where we're going and what we're doing next and some fun stuff to share with you all. So please just keep your seats. Just because I say adjourn, please don't leave. All right. I would like to take a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Seconded. Thank you, gentlemen. Any discussion?
Yeah. Well done, Carson.
Thank you. All right, we'll take that motion to a vote. Any opposed? Any abstaining? Motion carries. We are adjourning here at 4:48 Pacific time. I'll hand it back to Matt.
We are ahead of time, and that's a good thing. I will still get you out early. So a few reminders, you do need to wear your badge to every event. The yellow hats will stop you. They're being nice, but they will stop you. So just as a reminder that. If you need to earn CEUs, you can pick up a packet at the front registration desk telling you what sessions are for what CEUs and how many credits they are. So be sure to pick that up if that's something you need. If you are a presenter, thank you for being a presenter. But we are going to meet directly when we end this in the room right behind us. So just go out the door, turn right, and you're in that room. It's going to be a short meeting, but we do need all the presenters to be there. Also on Friday night for our entertainment in the vendor hall is the ACT Olympics. You too can be an Olympian, a champion. Well, a few champions, but so you just grab some people and say, we're now a team. You don't need to pre-register. You just literally show up. They can be your friends. They can be strangers. They can just be people that you pull out of the audience. All right. That's going to be entertaining to watch, even more fun to participate. Everybody loves the cable whip. Also, finally, we are doing a little silent auction for some exciting prizes and gear and equipment. If you have anything to donate, go to the front registration desk. Otherwise, in the app or also in that link tree, linktree.com/actinfo, you can get the link to that as well. Few final things here. Oh, in the expo hall, there's also like fun stuff. Like we have a little coloring area. I think we have a pickleball court going on. So that's kind of cool. Just fun things to do in there. If you need a quiet space to just chill and relax, we do have a room over in the Hyatt that's just like a quiet Zen space. Also, we have a pop-up meeting room over there as well. So if you have a meeting that you want to have with somebody that's not out here and in public, maybe you're doing an interview or something, That's an option that's also open to us as well. Anybody can take advantage of that. Finally, if you did not get your free train pass, the Max Pass, you can get that at the front registration desk, and also information about going to the discount stores for Columbia and some other brands here in Portland. And then also, I think, Don, are you in here? Do you want to come do a quick invitation to people if we have, or just stand up and give a holler? Do we have some folks that still want to sing for us?
Some of you might have seen the stuff that we've been working on with music aspect and other things that we've been working on for the conference. Melissa and I have probably been for at least 5 years. I was 5 years. We've been dreaming about what it would look like to engage the talent that's embedded in this community. For many years, I've seen instruments around and those sorts of things, and so carrying some energy from last year with the music stuff that we did. We actually did the house bands. We got a house band made up of a good number of people from our community as well as some additional friends. And on top of that, we've added between those two sets that we're going to be playing after the award ceremony. There's 10 spots of open mic. So if you are a musician, artist, whatever, if you have we'll do 10 spots, it will max about 5 minutes at the most. If you would like to come and play songs, that we'll have a keyboard. There's a keyboard there. There's a guitar there. There's a guitar there. If you guys are together and do something, the idea is really to showcase the talent that is embedded in this community. We're as human beings, we're more than just what we do in this industry. I'm always amazed to hear about the crazy things that everyone is into. Every type of adventure sport, but always of motorcycles, and cars, and music has always been central to who I am as a person. I know that's true of a bunch of you as well. So we want to create a space for you guys to have an opportunity to showcase that. So look and get a hold of me. I'm around, and yeah, let me know if you want to sign up. We have 10 spots. 2 of them are filled already. Also, 2 people are already ready to go. I've heard both of them play, and they're both amazing. So you're going to enjoy it. Get hold of me as I'm around. My team at the Adventure Guild, and anybody can get you in touch with me as well. So
Great. Thanks, Don. So that's the Saturday night entertainment after the award ceremony. Friday night is the ACT Olympics. Tonight, after the expo hall, is going to be the mixer over, sponsored by Granite Insurance, across the street at the Spirit of 77, which is basically if you go out this door and across the street, it's right there. So right on the corner, short walk. Without further ado, let's see who wins the prize of the hotel, the conference registration, and the $25 gift card.
They also get backstage pass for the rope breakers.
Oh, we're adding to that. That's fantastic. It's always good to have that limited. Here we go. Hopefully this works here. Dun, 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 dun. Still going. We have a winner. Alexandra, are you here? No? No? If you see this person, tell them they won and to come find me or Melissa, and we'll go ahead and give them their prizes. With that, give the folks that are the vendors just a few minutes to get into the expo hall, and we'll go ahead and head on over there. You should have gotten your drink ticket, so you have some free drinks, a little bit of light appetizers, and we'll head over there and have a good time. With that, let the conference begin. Thanks, everyone. I appreciate your work these last several